Welcome to the Sleeping Barber podcast.
All right, I've got a marketing moment, a case study.
Let's go.
I went to the well again, another one of Mark Ritson's Effie's classics.
The gifts.
They are so good. They're really good. I just love how they're
really
structured.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is on tourism Australia specifically. There was a new tourism ad that I was actually looking for because Tourism Australia did another one with Will Arnett just last year or the year before. I can't remember.
Oh, I vaguely remember
Yeah,
that.
it was really good. But anyway, I couldn't find a really substantive case study, so I used this one. So the background here. So Tourism Australia, and the big insight is that strategy before tactics, always. So from 2007 to 2017, so a 10-year period, tourism visits to Australia was up by 11%. Stupid AI thing. I gotta fix that. Tourism was up by 11% overall. So visitation to Australia was up, but Americans, I should say, weren't really increasing in line with the general tourists that were visiting the country. So Tourism Australia is like, that's a big market. We've got a couple of challenges to get people here. Awareness wasn't one of them. So the big problem and nor was desire. So the big problem, I think about the funnel as a metaphor, the big problem what they had discovered was that in comparison to the UK, France, Italy, Americans had half of the amount of intention to visit down under that they did those other countries. So they were aware of it and they wanted to go there, but they just didn't have the intention to get there. So some of the barriers to that include high travel costs, length of flight, not enough time to travel,
Right.
which to me, as I was reading through this case, I'm like, right, physical availability. You know what I mean?
Ding,
like
ding, ding.
Mental awareness is super high, but it's just a long way to go.
It is a long way to go.
Yeah. And you need to commit. I mean, anytime I've thought about it, I'm like, I don't know if 2 weeks is even enough because
That's the thing.
right. And so there's that. So those are real objections. So campaign strategy, they had a few objectives. One was to increase the intention of travelers from the U.S. Business objective was specific, going from U.S. spend of $3.7 billion a year to $6 billion per year by 2020. So this is 2017 that they started formulating this plan. So basically it was a 3-year period, almost doubling revenue from U.S. tourists. They had a target of a high-value traveler. So this was somebody who spent more and traveled more often. And the positioning for the strategy was a beautiful place to meet refreshingly irreverent people. So the campaign, they launched it right at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018. So what they started with was what looked like a movie featuring Danny McBride. That's the Eastbound and Down guy.
Yeah.
And so it looked like a paid, it looked like a movie release, like a theatrical trailer. So it was going to be what appeared to be a movie for the son of Crocodile Dundee. And so he's doing that's not a knife, and he's doing the whole thing, right? But it was pretty comical. So that was the first part. Then they come up with another trailer released during Super Bowl, but this time featuring Danny McBride as the son of Crocodile Dundee, but featuring also Chris Hemsworth, who's Australian.
Right.
And then they start getting into some stuff there. It then is revealed that it's a fake trailer, fake movie promo. And it's really just this travel tourism ad.
Right.
So from that point on, then they start loading in promos for tourism visits. They start bringing the characters on, like Danny doing partnerships with Qantas Airlines to address some of the concerns that people had, like, it's so far to fly. How do you fly? Like, what are tips on flying and all those kinds of things. And so that carried for at least this year into 2018, 2019. And the results were, it was the most viewed ad in Super Bowl. It won a gold Effie for its impact. Intention that number that we talked about before, increased by 83%. And then
Okay.
at the time of the report or the time of the case study, there was a 13% increase in bookings from American tourists in the first year. So I don't
Okay.
know. Weren't able to say how far they got and how close they got to the $6 billion number, because this was done in 2018 or 2019, I believe. So we don't know what the total impact was, but just a really cool case study for tourism.
I'll be honest. Sometimes I miss my time in aviation, because like you got to see a lot of these really great campaigns upfront and personal.
Yeah.
Just on how do you drive more of that mental awareness, the intent to travel, and it's a whole other industry which has nuances. And this case study really kind of had me reminiscing a little bit,
Yeah.
because it's a great industry too, if you want to work on the sense of the why travel,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, this is a great one.
You know what's also funny is separately, I found a case study from the Ehrenberg Bass Institute on tourism and the most visited places. So it's no surprise that Italy, France, and what was the other one?
Of course.
Italy, France, and the UK had higher intention, because that's most tourists and it's shorter.
Yeah.
And so, like, thinking about reducing the barriers to physical availability is actually a really interesting concept as well. Yeah.
Totally. Oh, great example. Thanks, Mark Squared.
Yeah. Thanks for the gift that keeps giving, Mark Ritson and Effie's. Okay, Q&A.